I want to speak to you about how our hair change when our life change. The reason this is so important is because life changes all the time. We go into different seasons from one day, from one moment to another. Those changes based on what they are. Our hair sometimes go through the same season. And I want you to be aware of what's happening with you and what's happening with your hair. Hey, 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 hey. Welcome to the Bajo channel. Welcome to another video. This is the home of self-care, beauty, wellness, and any and everything that'll help you to become the most empowered version of you. Today, I'm going to continue to talk about hair and how it changes based on what you're going through. I've been going on a rant for the last few weeks about, just our hair and the different changes that it go through for different reasons. And I want you to be aware of what's happening with you and what's happening with your hair so you can make little adjustments and tweaks to maybe your hair care regimen, or because sometimes when life is lifing, there's no adjustment that you can make for that situation that you're going through. But you can begin to tweak and adjust how you are responding to it. Initially, when you're going through things in life, it's like a knee-jerk reaction. It's like your body responds the way it responds. But when you're going through long seasons of different changes, whatever that might be, however long that season might be, you now become aware. You can become aware and make some shifts and changes to how you respond to it. And that can in turn affect and offset, especially when it comes to our hair, some of the emotional stresses that our hair go through. We never really think about it in that context. But our hair, as we go through our emotional difference and our emotional challenges, our hair go through those challenges as well, and you will see the difference. I want you to just know that your hair reflects the different seasons that you go through. That's the point. Like when you're going through certain things, whatever it is, and what I love about this is I love anything that makes us stop and reflect. We move so quickly through life every day. Every day is something from this to that to whatever it is that we're going through. We go through these different seasons and we're moving so fast that we really never have time to sit back and take into account the things that we're going through and just go through a period of reflection. And when you understand how it connects to your hair and what's happening with it, it's also an indicator for you to make some adjustments to how you're responding. Mind what I'm saying, how you respond to the situation. Because the situations in life sometimes just persist and they rage, right? But how you continue to respond to it, it makes all the difference in the world. And I'll say this before I get into my different ways and things that you see in your hair when you're going through certain seasons of your life. But when you are going through different seasons and different issues in your life, you have a choice, right? And we all, as long as you're alive, you're going to go through some things. If you're young and you're like, you have no idea what I'm going through, my mom used to tell me, just keep living. Don't you worry. Just keep living. And it's like when you were, say you're 30 now or 40, when you were 15 or when you were 20, the way you responded to things are completely different to how you respond to them now. Why? Because you've become aware of certain patterns in life. And now those things don't jolt you like they used to. So you've adapted to how you respond to the same thing that was happening. Perhaps when you was 20, now that it's happened to you when you're 30, you respond differently because you learn how to adapt your response to it. and you know what I mean? Same thing when it comes to our hair. When we are going through certain things in life and you see that those things are affecting your hair and all other things in your body, after you've been in that season for a certain amount of time, you have the choice, you have an opportunity to kind of adjust how you respond to that situation. And that's very powerful. One of the things that I want you to pay attention to is the shedding that your hair does during seasons of your life. And it doesn't always have to be horrible seasons. For instance, you could get a new job, right? And that job has placed it's a great job. You love it. You're very happy and excited. But that job has placed a different level of responsibility and demands on you. And now from those demands, your body is shifting to adjust and to keep up with those demands. If you see your hair starting to shed or go through different little periods like that, it's the shedding is such a telltale sign that something is shifting in your life. You could get a new job and that can happen. Another thing that can make your hair shed really, really bad is loss. When we go through the experience of losing a loved one or someone that we're very close to, your hair can because your hair is gonna react. It's like this. When you are going through emotional stressors and emotional weights in your life, your hair is just gonna mirror what you're going through internally. That's really what's happening. And we are late to the party when it comes to us making this connection, because it's like that's the last thing we think about, our hair. But it affects everything. Another thing that can make your hair shed quickly and rapidly is when you're caring for a loved one. When you are caring for a loved one and you're that person's main caregiver, it can be detrimental to your hair and other things. It's hard for me not to go into different areas. I'm trying to stay focused on our hair, but I have to just mention that I'm speaking about our hair and how it sheds and it falls, and you don't even think about the things that's going on in your life and connect it to it, but it goes beyond our hair. Your body begins to break down. Everything about you changes, even your mood, your attitude, everything. When you're a caregiver and you're not giving care to yourself, these are the outcomes that so many of us face. I have been in that predicament in my life that I had to be one of my family members' main caregiver, and they were not well. And everything about my life at that time was consumed with trying to make sure they were well or they got better or that they had the things that they needed, because I knew that they could not get what they needed for themselves anymore. And so it did wear on me. And it's not a thing of, and it made me feel guilty that I felt that way, that I felt like it was a lot. But I knew it was my responsibility to care for my loved ones, but I forgot to care for myself. And in that season, my hair was in duress. My skin, my everything, my anxiety was at an all-time high. But I want you to pay attention to your hair. Your hair can give you a glance of other things that's going on in your body. I feel like sometimes your hair is like your little secret whisperer in your ear to kind of tell you like, hey, you're off and that you need to do some course correcting. And another thing too, and depending on the type of lifestyle you lead, but I know especially when you live in a fast city like New York, those A-type personalities, grind and hustle mentality, you overwork. We have a tendency to overwork. working from early in the morning to late at night, day in, day out, yeah, your hair starts shedding horribly. So much so sometimes it's shed in different areas where you're starting to get bald spots. You're losing hair, like literally. The shedding gets to, because after you shed but so much, if you shed so much, and this is why you pay attention to shedding. When you shed so much, how much can you shed before you see a noticeable difference in the overall density of your hair or in losing particular spots? Sometimes you'll see a complete bald spot in your hair because it shed so much. It's shed out now. Overworking, craziness. The overworking is bananas. And it's the emotional weight. It pushes our hair into this shedding phase. All of these things that I mentioned, the new job, loss, caregiving, overworking, it pushes us into our hair into this stage of shedding. It's pouring out. And you only have but so much hair on your head that it can shed before you don't have any, or you see a bald spot, you're having more edges, your hairline is receding. That's why you pay attention to the shedding. The shedding is just the first stage. And again, I mentioned that in these stages and phases of life that we go through, you can't necessarily stop what you're going through, right? However, you can adjust to how you respond to what you're going through. And it takes time and it takes intentionality. You can't just stop or do a shift, but you can take inventory of the situation and how these things are triggering you or how it's causing you to literally neglect yourself in totality. It is important. Pay attention to your hair, because what is going on in your life is essentially going on with your hair. And it's so, I find it endearing almost if we pay attention to it, in the sense that it's like a little signal to us, giving us a nudge, like, hey, your hair shedding. It's like your hair kind of giving you a signal, like, you need to stop. You ever been doing something, or you ever been engaged in certain activities in life, and you know that you're doing too much based on how you're feeling, your heartbeat, your heart racing, you're in these high levels of anxiety, you go to sleep, you can't sleep well at night, you wake up in anxiety and stress, you wake up this way, you don't wake up calm, you wake up hyped and anxious. These are love signals, I call them, to let you know that you need to slow down and you need to make some course corrections. What they used to say back in the early 90s, you better check yourself before you wreck yourself. I get it. It's an opportunity for you to look and see, hey, wait a minute. And when I speak to people often, they say, hey, but this is going on and that is going on. And I tell them, I say, but if you're not still standing, nothing will be going on. So pay attention to shedding. Pay attention to your shedding. When you're going through different seasons, your hair's going through the same season too. I thank you so much today for listening to this Bajo message on the channel. This is the Bajo channel, home of self-care, beauty, wellness, and any and everything that'll help you to become the most empowered version of you. And remember that self-care, it is the best care. Later.